Yeah, okay, perfect. So it's lovely to have you both here. So I might ask you just to mute yourself now, Tracy. That'd be
Yep.
swell. And welcome to you for coming today. So what we're going to be talking about is basically happiness. All right. So, Tracy, you don't know me. I've worked with Amanda in the past, so I don't need to introduce myself to you, Amanda. But, Tracy, basically, I'm a life coach, counselor. I work with people as a profession to basically help them find balance and happiness in their life. Now, I've been doing this for a very long time. I've worked with a range of different people from all over the world, from performers, entrepreneurs, business owners, people who have really succeeded in life, but also people who are really struggling and helping them to find the success that they're looking for and the happiness that they're looking for. Perfect. We've got someone else here. Just letting someone else in. Hi, Trace. How are you? Welcome. I'm just going to ask if you can please put your video on during this webinar so that we can see you, and just so that I'll let you know this is also being recorded as well. So once again, if you're not comfortable with your video on, that's fine. It's just it will be nice because it's going to be interactive as well. So if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to ask. So over the next 3 days, we're going to be talking about happiness, what's stopping us from achieving happiness, what happiness looks like to us, what sort of lifestyle does that look like where every moment we wake up with that energy and that beauty and that zest for life, and how we can get from where we are to where we want to be. Okay. Now, happiness is one of those things that it's not a static thing. What I mean by that is it's not something that is the same for everyone, and it's not a constant. Everyone's definition of happiness is different. So what I want to do is I just want to open the floor and just either type in the chat or unmute yourself, and let's just brainstorm on some ideas on what happiness is to you guys. So what is happiness to you guys? Who wants to start? Who wants to start? Anyone? Okay, so I'll start and then people can follow through. So to me, happiness incorporates, for example, the feeling of when I'm going out into the bush, when I'm in nature. All right. To me, that's happiness. Happiness is being able to provide for my family. Happiness to me is um, being able to know that I have everything that I need to survive. I'm not thriving for having the life that I want. Okay, it's financial success, financial freedom. It's that sense of inner peace to know that I'm aligning every action, thought, and word that I'm doing with my mission in life, which is to help people. So that is happiness to me. Family is happiness to me. What about you guys? Who wants to volunteer? What is happiness to you? What's happiness to you, Tracy? What would be happiness to you? Tracy, do you want family going to the beach? Beautiful. Going to the beach, the bush. Beautiful, wonderful, lovely. Is there anything else that happiness is to you? What else makes you happy? Amanda, what makes you happy?
My kids,
Your
just
kid.
being with my kids here.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
lovely.
So having that Sunday, which is usually my day off, just being with them. So trying to create some sort of memorable um, day out of some sort.
Beautiful, lovely. So family makes you happy. Going out with your kids, wonderful. What else makes you happy? What else is happiness to you?
My business is, yes, I think it can be rewarding. So that just makes me happy knowing that I'm just doing the right thing or on the right track. Um, Being around my friends, I've got a great bunch of friends that I've been that I went to school with, that we all still keep in contact with, and our kids are like friends with each other. So all that sort of stuff makes me happy.
Beautiful, wonderful. So it sounds like community, friendship, being around people that you vibe with. Beautiful, wonderful. What about you, Marla? Welcome, Marla. So I'm Alex. It's
I
lovely to finally meet you. I know that we've been in a bit of communication behind the scenes. What's happiness to you, Marla?
so first of all, apologies. I was just writing a report and I didn't realize the time, so I'm very shaggy looking. So I just thought
No
I'll
worries.
get the
You're here
camera.
now.
So
And I also want to point out that the fact that you guys are here now means that you're giving yourselves permission to put yourselves first. This is wonderful. You could be out doing anything else, but you're choosing to be here now so that you can learn some tools and some tricks to infuse happiness into your life. So Marla, what would happiness be to you? What's your definition of happiness?
something that I do that doesn't require effort and reluctance, something that clicks with my values, something that I enjoy doing rather than having to do it. It's not like have to do it.
Perfect. So things that so basically things that you don't feel like you're being forced to do, going with the flow, things that you enjoy naturally doing. So what are some things that make you happy? What are some of those things that you would like either include in your life
Mm.
to bring some more happiness, or some things that you're doing at the moment that is infusing that joy into your moments in life?
So yeah, so everyone's got different things that they enjoy.
Yep.
One of the things I don't enjoy doing is playing golf. So if someone tells me to go and play golf, I'll get very, very unhappy, and people don't understand that. People think I should retire and go and play golf, and I'll say no. I enjoy doing my work, not too much, but just it gives me an inner sense of satisfaction working with the children
Yep.
and just being able to give them a diagnosis that the parents are able to go and get some funding for, getting up to go to the gym in the morning at 6 o'clock, um, and coming and feeling accomplished that I've done that. So that brings me happiness. That's just um, on a daily basis. But on a longer term, I I just like to have some rest and just having that what I call that sense of flow, as you said, and freedom
Yep.
to do whatever I want to do. So it's
Perfect.
nothing to do with money or anything. It's just an inner sense of satisfaction and contentment. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's wonderful, Marla. So it sounds like a sense of purpose, a
Mm-hmm.
sense of giving, a sense of helping others, a sense of helping children, a sense of beautiful. So it's really that sense of purpose that gives you happiness when you wake up and you're doing something that's contributing to other people. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Perfect. Wonderful. And this is a very common theme, all right? Community is a very common theme when it comes to happiness. We are by nature a community driven species. Relationships in a lot of ways define who we are. Okay. Now, most people aren't happy. Okay. By the definition of happiness, most people aren't happy. Okay. Now, if you guys are here, if you guys are joining me today, okay, the whole premise of this webinar is to basically get from a place where we feel stuck, where we feel like we want more, we know what we want, but we don't know how to get from where we are to what we want. So the next question is, what's the reality of what you're going through at the moment? What are some things that you want to change? First of all, are you in that grind, and what does that look like? So who wants to start? Who wants to start with that, to answer that question?
Can I
Yeah,
say
please.
something here?
By all means,
So,
go for it.
so for me, it's to look at the little things and appreciate rather than looking for and searching for things that are not in my control. So I'm always looking at what's in my control. What can I achieve? What have I got? So I do a lot of gratitude stuff. And if I'm frustrated with something, then I look at saying, what have I got now rather than what I don't have.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
every morning I start off with the gratitude because I'm a human being. I get very frustrated with certain things.
Yep.
Trying to expect others to do things the way I want to be done doesn't work.
Yep.
So it's being flexible rather than being rigid in the way I think and look at things.
Yep.
And it brings it doesn't always solve the problem, and also to not to expect that things are going to be my way.
Perfect. So that's a wonderful answer. So basically what I'm hearing is that part of the grind is when you're placing too much expectation on other people and they're not really doing things the way that you want things to be done. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. So my philosophy is that you got to change rather than expect people to change. And I went on a retreat once, and there was this saying, when you change, the world around you changes. So I often use that and see where I can change rather than where others, so that it takes that struggle of, sorry, ladies, I don't mean to take your time. I just thought,
No, that's okay. That's okay. We're this is just the start. That's okay.
Mm.
We've got plenty of time.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful, Marla. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, you're right. The outside world is a reflection of the inside world, and we're actually going to be touching a lot about that on the third day when we bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to go. So perfect. What about you, Tracy? What are some of the challenges that you're facing? Some of the things that you want to overcome? What are you looking for here?
I think at the moment, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yep. At the moment, I think it's job wise. I know I'm not happy. I know there's more. I know there's more to life, and same for job. I'm not happy at all. So it's just finding that. Yes, I know what I want to do, but it's getting there and doing it.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
you feel stuck in the grind at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So what is it about that you're feeling the grind? What is it about it? Is it when you wake up, you feel, oh my God, okay, I've got to go to work, I've got to do it, and then I'm going to come home and then I've got to do it again the next day. Like, what's that like for you?
It's yeah. It's getting like that. At first, I enjoyed it, but then just stuff's happening at work, and then it's just like, oh yeah, I got to go, and I'm not enjoying it at all. Yeah,
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Tracy. That's
no
huge. That's
worries.
fantastic. And just so you know, there is a lot of people in that boat. There's a
Yeah,
lot of people in that boat. And I'm going to tell you a little secret, okay?
yep,
The majority of people have that it'll be fine attitude. It's
yep,
good enough to get by. It's just good enough. When people tell themselves it's just good enough, that is actually an excuse to not do better. It's
yep,
just good enough. I'm just getting by. It does it. It's doing the job. Okay.
yep,
That's the attitude that keeps people in the grind
yep,
because it's good enough to stay, but it's not good enough to leave.
yep,
You know what I mean?
yep,
And so the fact that you're here now means that you're going to learn some tools and some tricks to help you make some choices about your future. And
yep,
hopefully by the end of these 3 days, you'll be empowered to act on those choices.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
You are not stuck. You are
Hmm.
not stuck. And one of the big differences between the majority of people who feel stuck, they're not stuck. They may feel stuck, but feeling something is not the same as being something.
Yep,
Okay. You are not stuck, even though you may feel stuck. Okay.
yep,
Is that you're here and you're investing in yourself so that you can come up with tools, so that you can learn tools to unstuck yourself.
yep,
That's massive. That's huge, Tracy.
yep.
Well done. And thank you for joining us. And
Thank you.
thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
What about you, Amanda? Anything that you want to share about what you're about, the daily grind, about what's keeping you back?
I think it's got to do with just trying to stay positive, going through a separation, trying to be amicable, trying to keep it, because we're still living under the same roof, just trying to make it friendly so it can be a somewhat amicable split. So trying to stay positive is what my goal is. So With work, obviously, with the dealing with people and people's personalities and that sort of things, I can have a really challenging day and I can have a really good day. So every day is different. Trying to balance that out and just take a deep breath when things get a little bit too much. I think that, yeah, I just know that I've got to stay, I guess, positive, but also remember that it it's not going to be forever, as in a problem that's going to be forever. Every problem can be solved. I've just got to navigate and just stay positive.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like for you, the thing that you're working through the daily grind is your relationship and your separation, and that's what.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that, Amanda. You guys are doing so well. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Part of the journey to breaking free from the daily grind is to own it. Okay. Accountability is key. So one of the, well, actually, there's actually a model, there's actually a system that the most successful and happiest people in the world have. And I experienced this myself. So just to transparency, I'm actually very content. I'm very happy in my life because I live by these models, and I've been very fortunate enough to work with some of the world's most influential leaders to actually learn from them as well. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to pass that on to you guys and I want to pass it on to the world. There are three things that helps them break free from the daily grind. And the first one is mindset. Okay. Your mindset is key. The number one reason why people feel stuck in the grind of daily life is because they don't feel like they can change. They feel like they're stuck and they feel like they have to live with that stuckness, basically. All right. They're not aware that they can change. It's what we call a fixed mindset. So basically with mindset, you've got your fixed mindset, which is the belief that you can't change, and the growth mindset, which is the knowing that you can. Okay. So one is a belief, but the other is a knowing. All right. We know for a fact that we can change. This has been proven by science. Okay. Neuroscience, psychology. We know that every choice we make literally changes our brain structure, changes our body, and through that changes our environment. Okay. So the first step to breaking free from the grind is to shift your mindset. Now, Tracy, I want to ask you something with your permission about your work. Is that okay? Do you mind if I ask?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Perfect. What's keeping you there?
To be honest, at the moment, money.
Is that the only reason?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So is that a good enough reason for you to stay?
No.
Perfect.
No.
Thank you. All right. Wonderful. Do you believe that you have the capacity to do something different?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you believe that you have the capacity to earn money doing the different thing?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Perfect. If you could do whatever you want, what would that look like?
Well, I want to do a counseling course, and I also want to work, whether it's like in a funeral director or something like that. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Wonderful. So it sounds like you've actually given a little bit of thought about your ambitions, about
Yep.
what you want. Perfect. And
Yep.
counseling is a beautiful profession. It's very rewarding. Okay.
Yep.
Well done. Okay. So the primary motive for you to stay is money. Okay.
Yep.
And that's basically what you feel is keeping you stuck in the grind, because you
Yep.
don't know what life would look like if you leave. Would you be able to find a job?
Yep.
If you leave and move somewhere, if you did something else, could it be potentially worse than where you are now? Okay.
Yep.
fear is generally what keeps us in the grind. So it's that first of all, that fixed mindset that I can't change, which actually sounds like it sounds like you're actually breaking free from that. The fact that
Yep.
you've already thought about a career change is huge.
Yep.
Well done. Okay,
Yep.
wonderful. So it's really now overcoming the fear of the unknown.
Yep.
Is that fair to say?
Yep. Yep. That's fair.
Perfect. Wonderful. Marla, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Do you feel like you're stuck in a grind in some way, shape, or form?
So it's human nature to feel like that every now and then. If you don't feel it, then, but it's never permanent. As I said, like you said, um, having a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, what I called psychological flexibility or rigidity. So I use Russ Harris's model of mindfulness.
Yep.
And so every now and then I do get stuck because I have a habit of piling up work sometimes, not procrastination, but work piles up because you got social. So I do get frustrated,
Mm-hmm.
especially some from Indian background. So we got families just drop in or something happens. And that becomes very frustrating for me sometimes because I'm not prepared for that. However, I then try and organize my work in a way that I don't look at it as a big mountain. I look at it as little bits and I work through it in bits. So I've used that model on myself. So I'll do 2 reports in a day, or I'll get up an hour early in the morning and I'll do it. But I'll make sure that I do go to the gym and I will give that a priority. So I don't really feel stuck in
Wonderful.
any way. As I said, I do get stuck, but I use a lot of metaphors and I use a lot of pictures in my mind. So I'll do a little bit of drawing and see if I feel stuck, I'll do a rewind. I think, okay, this is all stuck.
Wonderful.
So
Yeah.
what do I do to get myself out from here or stuck? And sometimes I will say, okay, I am stuck and I just need to be calm here because I can't do anything about it. Because there are situations in life where you have no control. So I also look at control versus no control situation.
Yep.
So I also do a list of things and I'll say, do I have control over this or do I have no control over this? And think of yourself being stuck in a storm. What do? You don't go and fight
That's
the
right.
storm.
What's
You
the
just
saying?
sit
It's
there and let it pass. So I do say, I will
yeah.
allow it to pass. This is a feeling. I will stay with this feeling and I will allow it to pass. And it does pass.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. And yeah, and the saying I'm thinking of is don't wait for the storm to pass, learn to dance in the rain.
I like that one. Yeah.
Because you're
Yes.
right, there is always going to be a storm.
Yeah.
And that's actually a huge difference between people who feel stuck in the grind. They feel like they're overwhelmed by the storm and they haven't learnt to dance in the rain. Whereas people who are genuinely happy, they learn to dance in the rain,
Mm.
you know. And I mean, Tibetan culture is a classic example of that with the Dalai Lama. I mean, his country was basically taken away from him,
Mm.
and yet he still teaches peace and love, and he's promoting peace and love throughout the world because he's aware that he can't change the situation, but he can control himself,
Yes.
you know. And this
Yours.
is so what you're saying is very beautiful, Marla. And I like that you actually acknowledged that you also sometimes feel like you're stuck in the grind. I mean, you sound like a very self-empowered woman, which is wonderful. But life, right? We are
That's life.
always
Yes.
sorry.
I said, that's life. There's nothing ever perfect in life.
And therein lies the perfection as well, you
Yeah.
know? Perfect. Amanda, what about you?
My struggle is knowing that my business doesn't give me a lot of flexibility. I've got 2 boys that I would be wanting to spend a lot more time with, and I find that the busier that my work gets, um, not saying the less time I have, but and the time that I do have is quality. But I would love to have a really nice home life, work life balance.
Mhm.
That's what I struggle with. So I have the mummy guilt all the time. And I think also too, I have learnt, I think, obviously was working with you, tools on, D&D of a night time on my phone, which that has taken me 22 years to work out before, and it feels really good. So I wish I had known that a long time ago. I know it's there. I think I'm a yes person. I think that's also another part of my, it's not a fault, but it can be um, something I need to work on just so I can say no when it doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I
Perfect.
struggle with that.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. And thank you for sharing that, Amanda. So boundaries are definitely another variable, another ingredient to to the grind.
Mm.
And it comes back to what you said as well, Tracy and Marla. I mean, basically, when you're saying yes to going to work just for the money, you're saying yes to the grind because there's no real purpose to that, you know? But if you say, and I get it, we've all got bills to pay, all right? But at the end of the day, every moment we have needs to have a higher purpose and it needs to align with your why. Why are you here? What is your purpose here on this earth? Okay. Money can't answer that. All right. And yeah, look, this is through no fault of ourselves individually because society has indoctrinated us into a certain mindset, into a certain way to live. You know, we're born, we go to school. After we go to school, some of us might leave school and get a trade or might go and work doing some laboring. Some people might go to university and get a degree or go to TAFE and get a certificate and then they'll work for money. They'll get a career. All right. They'll have a family, they'll have a mortgage. By the end of their life, they might have some grandkids. But throughout that whole journey, they haven't really asked themselves, why am I doing this? What's the reason? What's the purpose here? And you know, there was a study done in America with people on their deathbeds. Okay, psychologists wanted to understand, psychologists and social. What were they? Social. I can't remember their name. Like
Social workers.
social workers. Yeah, thank you. They wanted to understand what was the number one regret people had on their deathbeds. And so they did a study and they found that the number one regret people had was living life to other people's expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a think about that. Living life to other people's expectations. So basically, other people saying this is how you should live your life, using emotional blackmail to say if you don't live life this way, you're going to have a bad life. And even to the extent was, you know what? In some instances, if you don't live life this way, you're going to be a failure. And these beliefs are instilled in us from a very young age, from when our brain is developing. In fact, our parents, society has a huge impact, especially for the first 5 years of our lives. That's when we're basically indoctrinated by everything around us because we can't think for ourselves. And then through high school, the brain actually doesn't stop developing until you're about 36. That's when your whole cortex, the whole part of your brain develops. So even throughout early adulthood, we're still being indoctrinated by society. This is how you're supposed to live. And this is what's causing a lot of people to live in that daily grind because of ignorance. They don't know any better. And if you have a look at the difference between the people that are happy and successful and the people that are miserable and unhappy and going through the daily grind, it's the people that are happy. The reason that they're in the minority is because they challenge the status quo. They challenge what is normal. Okay, that's the mindset. That has to start in the mind. That's why mindset is number one. The number one reason people feel stuck in the daily grind is mindset. The second reason, number two, is accountability. Accountability means taking ownership of your stuff, taking ownership of your choices and the consequences of your choices. People who are stuck in the daily grind take no accountability. They blame society or the government, or they blame things outside of them for the shittiness in their life. They don't look inside and take ownership of it. Now, we're all guilty of this, all right? We're all guilty, and it does take, there is a tipping point. Generally, there is a tipping point where people say, and the successful people say, I've had enough of this. This is not working. What can I do differently? What can I do differently? How can I change? Because this isn't working for me. And that's the point where they start taking ownership. This might work for you, but it doesn't work for me. So what are some examples of things that we might blame others, things outside of us for? What are some examples? Who wants to start? What are some examples of things that we blame other people for that's going on in our life? Tracy, do you want to start?
Maybe our happiness.
Yeah. Perfect. So why don't you give me an example? So what would that look like?
So if like you're really happy and someone's life isn't going the way that they want, and they're going, oh, why are you always happy? Why aren't I like this? Stuff like that.
Perfect. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. And that's very common. That's why a lot of people who are happy and successful have a lot of haters.
Yeah.
Okay. Because people who don't have what they have, they want to try and drag them down so that they feel better about themselves. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So wonderful example. Thank you, Tracy. Amanda, did you want to go next?
What's one thing?
So what the question is what is something that you blame something, or something that a lot of people blame for their unhappiness?
Self-esteem. I think that's got a big one. I think that might be people looked to others. How do I word this? They look at others and want what they want, or want to be just like them, but feel that they can't be.
Yep.
So yeah, a little bit similar to haters, or that kind of thing, creating haters and something similar. But yeah,
Yep.
Self-esteem.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you. That's very powerful. That's right. So basically, when you're placing your self-esteem in the hands of other people and saying, I'm like this because of you, you're doing this to me, that's outsourcing your accountability to them.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Marla, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, sometimes we get stuck in the past, things that have happened, and we keep looking back. And so we can I share a little story?
Please, by all means.
It's just got a word that's not very appropriate, but I think we're all adults,
That's
nothing
okay.
vulgar.
This isn't PG.
It's
don't
an
worry.
open, free space. Yes.
I thought I just mentioned that. So there was a person I used to work with years ago, and he just kept blaming his mother for not this or not this, and then he said, if I could do this, I would have this. If I didn't do this. So I said to him, it looks like we're stuck in the past and we are too worried about the future. And then he got up and he put his legs apart and he said, you're so right. I'm stuck in the past and I'm looking at the future and I'm pissing in the moment. So I said, get up and do something in the moment. So what is it that you can do in the moment? So I wrote that down in the back of my diary, and I had it for a long, long time. So don't look at the past and don't worry too much about the future. Stop pissing in the moment.
That is powerful, and that is so true. Looking at the past can be a hindrance. Okay. So this is another thing. We're not actually defined by our past because we can't change the past. Okay. We are defined by the choices that we make right now. Okay. And that is so true. A lot of us find that we're stuck in the daily grind. A lot of us find stuck in life because we are looking at the past, and if you're living in the past, you're ignoring the present, which is really all there is. All we have is right now, the eternal now, as Eckhart Tolle talks about in The Power of Now. And we're denying ourselves the future that we want because we're stuck in the past. Very, very powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Marla.
Can I add another something as well?
Please. Yeah.
Yeah, just I think a lot of people do look to others as though why is their life so different to mine? What I mean by that is that there's a lot of social media is also one big one. Like people just think that these people are super happy and they've got a great life and do great things. Why am I not doing those things? Why is my life not looking like that? So I think that as well is looking at others as though, even though it's not necessarily, it may not be that. It's just all, their life would be somewhat, it might be very well good and it might also be bad, but playing a facade of some sort.
Yep. And look, I like that you mentioned that because that is so true. There's a coaching model called Core Crud Crust. Okay. Now, I always have, can you guys see this? Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm gonna just, though my clients know that I like using a whiteboard to take notes. So I'm just going to quickly go over this. All right. So basically, when we're born, okay, when we're kids, we have what we call our core. Okay. Now, we're born naturally in love. Okay. We're born with love, with curiosity about the world. We trust. Okay. So the core includes our love. It includes trusting. What else? What else would be some things that we're born with? So we've got love, we've got trusting, we've got innocence. What else do you guys think would be in the core of who we are?
Is it the capacity to learn and be
Yeah,
flexible?
perfect. Yes, love it. Love it. Learning, curiosity. So if you ever have a look at kids play, if you ever have a look at children, they have a natural energy about them. They are in the present moment and nothing else matters. They just want to have fun. They love, they trust. Okay. As we grow, okay, what happens is we start getting lied to, whether it's by our parents, by society, or whatever. We start being told that there are expectations that we have to meet. We start losing trust, so that mistrust starts to come in. Okay. Betrayal. What else? What else this is the crud. The crud is the stuff that we start building up in life that starts having a negative impact on us. What else? What else could form part of the crud? Sorry, Amanda, you're on mute, love.
Sorry, disrespect.
Disrespect. Beautiful. Disrespect. Anything else? Does anyone want to share anything else? What could form part of the crud? Pain, suffering,
Grief.
Yep. Perfect. Grief. Yep. So that'd be like losing people or things that we value.
Yeah. Yes.
Beautiful. Trauma. And so what happens is this is the stuff that's really, hold on, just got someone coming in. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, the board's a little blurry.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Yvonne. How you going? This is a bit of an open forum, so you're welcome to share your camera and unmute if you want. And so, yeah, we've got it. It's can you guys see that? Okay,
It's blurry
is it?
on my end though. I need to come closer, I think.
How's that?
Mm,
I can't read.
No,
yeah.
can't read.
Hard to read. Can't read at all.
Oh, you can't read it? Oh,
No, I
sorry.
just was listening to what you were saying, but
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay. Look,
Yeah.
I apologize about that. I'll change my camera tomorrow.
That's okay.
But anyway, look, the important thing is here is that the core is the love, the crud is the stuff that starts to hurt us, but it's too painful for us to deal with. It's very, very painful. It gets very uncomfortable. And so what we do is we try to avoid the crud by
Alex, can I
building.
ask you a question? Can you write that one and then just email it to us?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
take a picture of this and I will send this to everyone.
yeah. So then it becomes part of the, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so the crust is the facade, just like what you're talking about, Amanda. The pictures on Facebook, the fake smiles, okay? It's the persona that we want to show society about who we are that hides the bad stuff,
100%.
okay? And that's the crust. That's the fake smile. What else could that look like?
It's more like an external locus of control. We're forever looking at the outside and comparing.
Yep, perfect. Comparison. Yep. Wonderful. It's the Facebook posts of, your awesome life, even though you're suffering behind the scenes.
Yes.
In a lot of cases, it's look at my luxurious car, but they're in a lot of debt to actually get the car so that people think that they're rich. Okay? And so it's the cover of the book and not the book itself. Okay? Now, the journey that separates the people that are truly happy and successful is they will show the world who they are authentically and in totality. Okay? So if you listen to the story of Tony Robbins, for example, Tony Robbins had a tumultuous childhood, abuse, poverty to the point where they couldn't even afford Thanksgiving. If you listen to the story of Oprah Winfrey, once again, abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, extreme poverty, okay? Their story is out there for the world to see. They own their story, okay? They've been through the humiliation, through the embarrassment. They don't hide who they are. They are authentic. And the reason that they can be authentic is because they've worked from their crust through their core. The only way to get through the crud, the only way to get back to the core, to that love, is to work through the pain. And that's never comfortable. That is always uncomfortable, and it has to be, because growth happens in comfort and people stay in the grind. One of the reasons why people stay in the grind is because they blame the pain on others. They're not taking ownership of it, which means they can't work through it. It's too painful for them to admit that it's their stuff to work through. And so they will blame others because they don't have enough money. They will blame others because they're unhealthy. When life gets better, I'll get better. When the outside world is better, then I'll be better inside. Whereas if you have a look at the lifestyles of those who have succeeded, it's the other way around. They work on themselves. They take accountability for their stuff, and then the outside world becomes a reflection of their inside world. Does anyone have any thoughts, any comments, anything they want to add to that?
So putting yourself as the reference point and working from there rather than putting others as a reference point and trying to accomplish what they've got makes a big difference.
Yep.
In other words, you got to not have an external locus of control like other people controlling you, but just to look at yourself and say, where am I? And what can I accomplish, and have daily goals. There is a list sometimes I do where I write down, what can I do today? What are the things I can do today, rather than worrying about what I can do in a year's time. I do have goals for a year, but it's like one step at a time.
Perfect. Yeah,
And
wonderful.
also working on loving your own self, respecting your own self, the power of self-love
Yep.
works a lot.
Yeah, and we're
Appreciating yourself. Work done by Louise Hayes. Are you familiar with Louise Hayes?
Louise Hayes.
Yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
she wrote a book, Heal Yourself. No, Heal Your Life, Heal something. You can heal your life. And like when you mentioned the other person about trauma, she was also abused and had a lot
Yeah.
of trauma. Yeah.
Yep. And you'll find that a lot of people have. And so something that we're going to cover on the third day when we bridge the gap from where we are to where we want to be is what's known as the hero's journey.
Mhm.
So basically the hero's journey, I'll just summarize it in a minute
Who wrote that book? Is it a book? I think I've got the book.
No, the hero's journey is a concept. Okay.
Oh, but
So
there's a book also called
probably,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably there is. I know Tony Robbins talks a lot about the hero's journey.
Mm.
And basically it's the hero's journey is when the trial comes into our life. Now, Tracy, you mentioned money. So that's really your trial at the moment is
Yep.
to find a way to escape the grind of work which you don't like, but not sacrifice the money which you need to pay
Yep.
your bills.
Yep.
Okay. Now, that would be like in if you watch any movie, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, anything, you've always got the hero, and something happens
Yep.
to that hero that forces them out of the comfort of their home to go into the world. But
Yep.
there's always a mentor. So like you have Ben Kenobi in Star Wars becomes the mentor, or Gandalf in Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
And this theme is around all the hero's journey. There's always a mentor that teaches the hero about the outside world. But at some point the mentor dies. Okay. And the death of the mentor symbolizes the hero coming into their power. Okay. And they come into their power, they find who they are, they learn about themselves, they conquer the enemy, and then they go back a different person. They've grown back, evolved. Okay. This theme is common in all of our lives. Okay, we are all going through the hero's journey, and it's not just one. Like we go through many. It's like, God damn it, I've just done this
Yep.
journey, and now I've got to go and do another one. Yeah, well, that's how we grow. We grow.
Yep.
And so, Tracy, for you, in your instance, your hero's journey is going to take you out of this shitty job that you're in and help
Yep.
you find a life where you're getting paid, but you're happy. Okay. And I'm going to be brutally honest, it's not going to be easy, and it's not meant to be easy.
No.
Okay. And this is actually tying in to the third principle that delineates the successful and happy people from the people who are stuck in the grind, miserable and unhappy, and that fixed mindset. So the first one was mindset. Okay. The first one was having that growth mindset. People who are stuck in the grind don't have a growth mindset. They've got a fixed mindset and they think that they're stuck in that grind and they don't know how to get out of it, and they don't think they can. The second one is accountability. So they feel like everything is happening to them. They're not responsible for anything. It's all happening to them, and they blame the outside world for the shit in their life. The third separation is perseverance. Okay. If you have a look at the lifestyles of those who are successful, who are world record breakers, who are top performers, who are multimillionaires, they persevere when life gets tough. They understand the hero's journey, and they understand that they're going to fail, and they're going to hit the mat and they're going to fall, but they don't let it conquer them. They persevere. Now, I'm sure a lot of us have heard of people who have wonderful ideas. They have great ideas. Oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do that. Okay. Mike Tyson famously said, everyone talks a big game until the first time they get hit. And it's true. Okay. And this is what separates the successful and truly happy people from those who are miserable, is they will both get hit, but the people who are happy, genuinely successful, they use those punches as opportunities to learn and grow. They persevere. They understand that motivation is great to get you started, but you can't rely on motivation to go past the finish line. And this is where discipline comes in. And the definition of discipline is doing something even when you don't feel like doing it. Anyone can act with motivation. Anyone can act. Yes, I'm motivated. Excellent. What happens when motivation stops? This is where your true grit, this is where your true character has the opportunity to shine. This is where you can prove to yourself, you know what? The daily grind is not good enough for me. It's not good enough for me to just get by. I deserve to thrive. Is this making sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So who has any thoughts, any opinions? Would anyone like to add to that?
I think what a lot of people get stuck on is competing with others when I think they should be running their own race. I think that they know what limits they can go to without having to listen to the white noise. So I think there's a lot to be said for a lot of people want to be that person or be a bit more like their competitor, but they're doing a damn good job doing it their way. I think that if you stay in your own lane and work as hard as you can, I think that's important.
Yep. Yep. There is okay, I love that you're bringing this stuff up, Amanda. There is another coaching model. It's called Trust Me. It's called a Trust Me model. And basically the T is for trust, the R is for relationships, so you need to have relationships with others. The U, which is really the really powerful, stands for uniqueness. And that's what you're talking about, the uniqueness about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you an example, only because I've got a network of property managers, successful property managers, ones that even run their own businesses. And when we're going through COVID, and there was a lot of obviously issues with tenants paying rent, and it was just a real struggle for a lot of people. I found that I created a network of great property manager professionals that we actually bounced ideas off each other. And from that, on Wednesday, we had to do our CPD courses, which is keeping our licenses. We had to do certain points, etc. And I've created all these girls to meet in one room for us to all do the points together. And I know them all, but all these girls that we all chat with, or they all chat with each other, they don't know each other. So these are all my competitors, but I don't treat them as competitors. I actually treat them as I respect what they do, how they go about their business, but I do mine differently. But I want to lift them up and, just be there with them. We all bounce ideas off each other, great advice that we give each other. It's just a nice network. So
That's
we're all doing that on Wednesday.
that's beautiful. That's wonderful. And really, and this is tying so beautifully back into the uniqueness path, because we all have something to give. We are all born unique, and we all have our uniqueness as a gift to give to the world. This is the whole irony of business, and really in anything in life, is that when you are so sure and confident in yourself, in your uniqueness, you don't actually find yourself in competition with anyone, because you know that no one is like you. No one can bring to the world what you can bring to the world, because you're you, they're not you. And I love what you just said. And when you realize that you are not like other people, that you are you, that in and of itself can actually propel people, can actually propel you to be disciplined, to persevere, because you know that you've got something to give in the world that no one else can. Why wouldn't you want to share that with the world? What a beautiful gift. Thank you for sharing that, Amanda. That's really, really powerful.
You're welcome.
Is that resonating with anyone? Would anyone like to add to that? Tracy, do you want to add to that? No? Marla, would you like to add to that?
It is a good thing to do things like that, because my principle is, if you sow one seed of kindness or one seed of love, wherever you go, it's bound to grow, and it has a ripple effect on humanity. So sometimes, so give you an example, I went to a place and people were arguing, and I pulled back from arguing. I was just observing, and I thought I'll be an observer. And if someone is, and a friend of mine said, well, it was targeted at you as well, and you didn't say anything. And I said, sometimes just being calm and peaceful helps. And I was sharing this with my friend who tries to fix everybody, and I said, just instead of throwing fuel into the fire, you got to sow seed of love and kindness, and it's bound to grow. So my like, uniting people, getting people together, and not having that expectation. So I was quite impressed with Amanda and what she's doing, letting people, just bringing people together and helping them to share, because it just helps.
Beautiful. Yeah, it does. It does. There's actually, once again, there's a study, or there are many studies actually, that show the power of group and community. Okay, in achieving a common goal, in achieving a common vision. Tracy, I want to invite you to consider that the fact that you're here now with Amanda. I've known Amanda for a few years now. We've worked together on a few things together, and Amanda is a very successful property manager. Okay,
Yep.
she runs her own business, a very successful woman. Marla, I have just met over the last couple of weeks, and is a very empowered woman. She's a psychologist, and she specializes in helping children with ADHD and diagnosing children with ADHD and family work
And autism.
and autism. Tracy, I want to invite you to consider the fact that you are here now, present with these women, with these visionaries, is actually shifting your own mindset.
Yep.
You are, whether you realize it or not, growing by the people that you're hanging around. This is a very powerful tool. This ties into number 4. The reason why people stay stuck in the grind is because they keep going to the same environment and hanging around the same people that is keeping them in the grind.
So true.
Who we hang around with,
Yeah.
and the environment that we put ourselves in, has a huge impact on the choices that we make in life. What are your thoughts about that, Tracy?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just looking at the job I'm working at and other jobs, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Can I ask a question to Tracy,
Yeah.
if you don't mind?
Yeah, of
Yep.
course.
What sort of work do you do? Because your career, or what you want to do, is quite intriguing. Obviously, wanting to be a counselor, that just goes to show what kind of personality you are, of wanting to help people, but also in the funeral, maybe business as well. What do you do now, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, so my background is hospitality.
Mhm.
So at the moment I work in fast food, but along the way I've worked in home care and aged care. So but with the aged care, that's where, like, essentially I want to be a death doula
Okay.
and work with it. That really interests
Yeah.
me, the dying and passing over to the other side and that. But just
Yeah,
having
wonderful.
that counselling background. And then only last week I met Alex at a mutual function that we went to. So yeah, it was just, and I'm all about timing and stuff like that. So it was, yeah, And
Yeah.
I was meant to go for a reason last week. So yeah,
Yeah. I think it's quite inspiring because even for me, timing was everything for me as
yeah,
well. So when I always knew I was going to do my own thing.
yeah,
And it was numbers. I see a lot of angel numbers and all that sort of
yeah.
thing. It
Oh
sounds
yeah, me
silly
too.
to some.
No, I get
Yeah.
yeah,
And it was
yeah,
all about timing and it was just the right time. And I knew it wasn't going to not work, but I had to
yeah,
take that leap of faith and just make
yeah,
sure that I backed myself 110%. And it's
yeah,
just worked and it's all just word of mouth. So I don't do any
yeah,
advertising or anything like that. And it's just, I've
yeah,
got a great rent roll, great tenants,
yeah,
great landlords, all the rest of it. So it's kind of, yeah, your line of work, because counseling is just, it's helping others. And I
yeah.
find that really, that goes to show the kind of person that you are. And when you mentioned the funeral side of things, I don't know if you, have you, who's the lady at the BNI, Alex,
Yeah,
the funeral
that's so
director,
Tracy
Nikki?
Tracy
Yeah,
went to Nikki
Nikki.
Nikki
Oh,
Myers.
Nikki.
Yeah, that's
So
how
Okay,
I
yeah,
Tracy and
great.
I met.
so I
Oh, right. Okay,
yeah.
great.
So and Nikki and I have known each other through the spiritual center at Mitchenberry.
Right.
Our girlfriend used to own it.
Yes.
So and that's how I went. I started going because I needed some like guidance, and I went
Hmm.
to meditation and I went to classes, and then I was doing readings and stuff like that. So that's
Yeah.
how I got into that.
Yeah.
And then from there, then I met Nikki, and
Yeah.
it's yeah.
And it's just evolved. So yeah,
So
because
it's
what
sort of
you're,
all yeah. But my mindset's changed because what I'm doing, I'm not. I know I'm not happy, but I keep ending back in. Like I keep trying to get out of fast food or the food industry, but it keeps dragging me back in. So I know
Okay,
something's got to change.
can I
You know what
challenge
I mean?
something? Can I challenge
Yeah,
something there, Tracy?
yeah,
Okay, our words, the way we talk actually has
yeah,
a huge impact on our mindset. Now,
yeah,
when you say things like the fast food industry has
yeah,
dragged me back in,
yeah,
let's flip that because at the
yeah,
end of the day, you're still choosing to work there.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
but yeah,
So
I understand. Yep,
do you understand? So
yeah,
let's shift away from the fast food industry is dragging you back in
yeah,
there to I'm choosing to work there.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, this is accountability. When
yep,
we acknowledge the choices that we make, whether good or bad, okay? And remember, this is not about
mm-hmm,
good or bad. This is really about choice
yep,
and consequence, okay?
yep,
Then we can change the choices that we make.
yep,
Okay. And this is a huge difference. This is so powerful when it comes to moving into the life of real happiness, strength, and purpose because we can achieve it. We can 100% achieve it. God,
yep,
if we couldn't achieve it, you wouldn't have the Oprah Winfreys, the Richard Bransons, the Steve Jobs. None of them would be able
yep,
to exist if we didn't have the capacity. There's no difference between them and you. The only difference is
yep,
mindset. Does that make
yep,
sense?
yeah. That yep,
How do you
yep,
feel about that?
yeah. No, I agree. Yep,
Perfect. And thank you for sharing with us what you do as
yep,
well. That's really, really powerful. It
yep,
takes, and once again, I mean, Amanda hit the nail in the head. The fact that you want to be a counselor and really get into that sort of
yep,
giving lifestyle and profession speaks wonders about you. And I'm also going to add to that and say that the fact that you are so open and sharing about yourself
yep,
in this group. I mean, you've never met Amanda or Marla
yeah.
before. This
No,
is being recorded.
yep,
That's very brave. This is so brave. This is you leaning into life, leaning
yeah,
into your power. Okay. There is there's another saying that that a lot of that these successful people do is they make decisions quickly and change their minds slowly. Okay.
yep,
So what that means is that when they've made a choice, when they know they've got to do something, they will do it. They will do it, but they won't chop and change straight away. They will stick it out.
yep,
Okay. If something is not working, they'll analyze the data, they'll strategize. I think that's not working. They might make some small shifts, but they're committed to the choice that they make. So they make decisions. When they make it quickly, but they change their minds slowly.
yep,
Does that make sense? Do you
yep,
guys
yeah. I
understand that?
understand. Yep,
Yeah. Marla, Amanda, does that make sense to you guys or not?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Perfect. Perfect. So we've already covered four things that hold people into the daily grind, which is the topic of this first one. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the ultimate lifestyle. Okay,
Mhm.
so we're going to answer the question, if there were no boundaries, if you had all the resources in the world, what would your life look like? That's a very
Mhm.
powerful question. Okay, very, very powerful question. And finally, on the third day, on the Wednesday, we're going to talk about bridging the gap, how to get from where you are to where you want to be, and that's going to be epic. That is going to be so
Mhm.
freaking epic. You're not going to want to miss out on that one. And so we've already covered 4 things that hold people into the daily grind. Okay, the first one is mindset. Okay, people who are in the daily grind, who don't know how to feel stuck, who don't know how to get out of the stuck and the rut of life, is because they have a fixed mindset. They don't think they can. Okay. The second one is accountability. They blame everything outside of them for the shit in their life. Okay, for the misery in their life. And it's funny because we're very quick to blame others for the bad stuff in our life, but we're also very quick to take ownership of the good things in our life. I did this great thing, and I want to tell the world, but this bad thing, that was their fault. That's very much the mindset of people who are stuck in the daily grind. The third thing was perseverance. Perseverance, this involves discipline. Motivation was great to get you started, okay, but it won't keep you going. Discipline will keep you going, persevering through the down as well as the ups. Okay, when life gets tough, you keep pushing forward. Okay, you might make adjustments on the journey. There's nothing wrong with that. Adjusting your compass is changing, and this is also part of life, is to understand that your terrain will change, to be adaptable and to be flexible. Okay,
And I think
but to
it's
keep
also, sorry,
that's okay.
and remembering too that yes, whilst things might be tough and it might be bad, and I think it won't forever be like that.
No, and this is okay. So this is actually you're touching on point 5 here, Amanda. You're right. Things won't be like that, but in order for things to stop being like that, you've got to be able to know that it's going to change. You've got to actually
Mindset.
make the change in order for it
Mm.
to stop. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. Now, whether in this lifetime or the next, it will change. Okay? But the reality is that people who are stuck in the daily grind, okay, most of them will live in that grind for the rest of their life. And it's not to say that they can't change. Okay. Remember what
Mm.
we were talking about before about societal expectations, changing the status quo, and all that sort of stuff, challenging the status quo, and doing things different to what their expectation is. That it's the reason why the number one reason why on people on their deathbeds, um, they regret living to other people's expectation, is because they basically live their whole life, well, to other people's expectations. Okay. Now, you're absolutely right. It can be temporary. We actually have the choice at any moment. We actually have the option at every moment to make a different choice. Okay. The whole irony is that it's a choice to be stuck in the daily grind. It's actually very easy to get out of it. It's very easy to have a shift in mindset. It's just that we think it's not. And because we think it's not, it comes back to it's good enough to get by. And
Mm.
unfortunately, most people are stuck in that mindset. So, yes, it can be temporary. Unfortunately, for most people, it's not by choice. By choice. And that's the key. It's by choice. They're choosing whether out of fear, they know they want better, but they're too scared to go into it, or out of ignorance. They literally don't know that there's another option because they haven't been exposed to another option. It's all they know.
Can I ask Tracy a question?
Yeah,
Tracy,
Mm-hmm.
please go on.
Yeah.
do you have any leave that you could take maybe a couple of days just to reflect and see where you want to go, how you could manage? Maybe you could take, like, if money is a factor, and money is such a necessary evil that
Yeah.
if we don't have it, and I can hear what you're saying. And if you feel that you may be able to get some stress leave and get some assistance from Centrelink just to
Yep.
find your footing, just stabilize your foundation, and
Yep.
then be able to see the direction better. Sometimes when we just pause. So one of the things that I often tell myself is pause, take a breath, and have a look. Because if you don't pause,
Yeah.
it's harder to,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sorry, Alec.
No, that's okay.
in my
That's
mind,
okay.
so that-
Can
yeah.
I, Marla, with your permission, can I challenge something that you just said? Is that
Of
okay?
course you can, of course.
Thank you. So it's interesting to hear you, or to hear the term money is a necessary evil. So I'm wondering where that's coming from, because this is something that is actually also a delineation between people who are successful and happy compared to those who aren't. People who aren't happy generally do see, and I'm not saying you, Marla, I'm just saying this is the general mind frame, that they see money as an evil thing. Okay.
I just quoted as saying, but what I was trying to say is, and thanks for bringing that to my notice, because I often say rephrase what you say. It's just
Yeah,
a saying,
I love it.
and it's I meant is if you don't have money for rent, and Amanda would know, then it's hard. It depends on how much reserve you have or whatever. Because if you don't have enough to pay your rent or your mortgage, then it's really hard to survive. Do you have enough to buy? I mean, food you can budget, but there's certain amounts that you have to fork out every month or every week. And if you don't have it, and that's what I was looking at, is to be able to pull back and say, do I have enough, or do I go to the Centrelink to get some money to assist me, so that you are able, if you have no money, then you can't survive in this model. That's the reality.
Perfect.
And you and I both know,
Yeah.
maybe we don't go and buy a new wardrobe every month, and I have survived with that. No, so the thing is, don't buy clothes this month, or look through everything, and then and again, not looking at what other people are wearing, what the fashion is, but just to be able to content with the basics. So sometimes you have to go to the basic needs.
Yep.
And,
no, thank you for clarifying that, because that's coming to Maslow's law.
Yes, I was just going to say the Maslow's
Yeah.
hierarchy of needs.
Maslow's hierarchy of necessity. Yeah, perfect. Thank you for clarifying that.
No, that's right. Thanks for asking.
There's a reason why I wanted to point that out, is because people who are watching this. So, can I use you as an example, Tracy? Let's say you want to move.
No worries.
Let's say you want to move from fast food to counseling. Okay.
Yep.
Money is made where value is given. Okay. So people are willing to exchange money for value. I'll give you an example. I'm a coach, counselor, entrepreneur, business person. I provide value to people, and people give me money for it. Amanda is the same. Amanda provides value to homeowners for rent, so that she can manage their property, and she takes a cut of their money for it. Now, if you're going to be a counselor and you're going to provide value for people, you're going to be rewarded financially, and so you should. Okay, you should definitely be rewarded, because really, money is it's a reflection on the value that you give to the world. So if we start flipping the switch on this as well, because once again, a lot of people who are stuck in the grind have a negative relationship with money, and they think people who have money are evil. I need to have more money. There should be more equal distribution and all that. It's coming back into that the world is doing this to me mentality. Okay. But if you have a look at the genuinely successful people who are genuinely happy and successful, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of, there are rotten eggs out there, people who have inherited money, people who are really, really bad people. So money it really amplifies. So if you're a good person, money will amplify your goodness. If you're a bad person, money will amplify that as well. Money in and of itself is impartial. It's the person that uses it, that gives it its power, if you want to think of it that way. So if you were to be a counselor, the money that you earn from being a counselor or coach or in the death space, that's going to be a reflection on the amount of value that you give people. So if you help, I mean, if you do help, let's, for argument's sake, that you help 100 people a year. You're providing service. You're being of service to 100 people a year. Okay. And that service comes at a cost because it has to. You've got to live, you've got to
Yep.
earn money. The more money that you get is actually a reflection on the value and service that you're giving to society. That's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, good. Especially if you're like doing good for people.
Yeah.
Like nothing comes for free either. Like, you know, I understand that.
And so there's a book called The Psychology of Money. I'm not sure, you may have read it, Marla.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, okay. No, that's okay. So in The Psychology of Money, the author talks about how everything comes at a cost. Okay. We need to provide an investment to the universe in order to get the success that we desire. And this is a universal fact. Whether you want to spend money to make money or spend time to get an education, to learn, whether you want to, whether the sacrifice might be, for example, you might not be able to spend as much time with your kids for the first year so that you can provide for them for the rest of their life. Okay. This is the sacrifice that we're talking about. And it's not really a sacrifice, it's an investment. Now, this is true across all areas of our life. Okay. If we want something, we have to pay an investment for it. Okay. Now, what this is actually tying into what you said before, Marla, which is, for example, if you want to have a successful counseling practice or a doula, or you want to be, want to be a death doula.
Yep.
Okay. When you're going to start out, when you first start out, having mindset, perseverance, mindset, accountability, perseverance, surrounding yourself by the right people is crucial.
Yep.
You are not going to make money right away. You are going to struggle at the beginning, and it's normal. Okay. Because this is how you learn and this is how you grow. That's why having these sorts of tools at your disposal is paramount, because when life gets tough, you've got these tools to count on to keep you going. Okay.
Can I add something from
Yeah,
my
please.
experience? So I've often felt that money just flows in if you work with your heart and sincerity. You got to have a goal of earning money, but the focus doesn't have to be entirely money. Sometimes we lose the purpose of our work when we just keep thinking, I'm going to earn this much, I'm going to make. Yes, you have plans, yet if you work from your heart, your business just grows, because word of mouth and everything, sometimes you don't even have to advertise, because just the way, I don't know how to put it, just the way you put, because I'm not a counseling person, but I do a lot of work on myself. So I just feel that, if you become, I'm not saying you, if people become greedy and very competitive, then the energy is lost in that. But if you focus in your work and just sincerely work and serve in whatever way, whatever job you have, as I said, that positive energy just flows and you attract people. So that attraction just happens. I don't know whether I put it right in your.
No, I hear what you're saying, and that's. I think that there's a lot of comfort in that thought, but the reality is there's also misconception in that as well. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that we've got a business that was doing well, but all of a sudden stops doing well, and you start, and your boss or your manager starts saying to you, you know what, financially we're not doing too well, but if we stay positive, if we stay thinking good, if we stay positive within ourselves and we keep thinking positive thoughts, we're going to hope that we're going to get more money.
No, you've got to do action as well. You just can't be thinking.
Yeah,
but there has to be action.
And that's the point I'm making. That's exactly the point I'm making.
There has to be action. You can't just sit there and expect things to fall in your lap. It doesn't happen.
So this is where the optimistic mindset comes in. This is where growth mindset comes in, because positive thinking is good, all right?
So I think that meant that when you work with your clients, you got the sincerity
And
in
passionate.
yeah.
If you're passionate about what you do, yeah, I mean that's tying very much into perseverance as well. That's what keeps you going. It's the passion, it's the continual drive to serve other people. And yes, that's actually very true. When you're doing the work and people vibe with your passion, they'll be going, "Wow, I want to keep working with that person because they're doing such a good job." But that passion is the driving force for you to go the extra mile. That passion is the driving force. That love is the driving force to serve. And when it's coming from your 100%, that will definitely keep you. So I would say that people who are of that mentality will be unlikely to go down dire straits anyway, because if you're genuine in that you want to serve, you will find strategies. And this is where the key is. It's practical strategies to keep the business afloat, because you know that that business or whatever endeavor it is you have is serving others. And that's where the power of the power of love really starts coming in, because it drives you, even when times are tough, to come up with ways practically and strategically to overcome those hurdles.
I think it's learning. Never stop learning.
Yeah.
Yep. Spot on. The number one investment you can make is in your brain.
Yeah. Every day we're learning.
Yeah.
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 Perfect. Now, does anyone want to add to anything that we've spoken about tonight? What are your thoughts about all of this? How are you finding this? Tracy, why don't you start? What do you think? How are you finding it? Yes. You just happen to be the one on the most left on my screen.
For sure. No, it makes a lot of sense, and some things I know I have to change. Like I know even before I met you, I know there's still, for me to change, I've got to change and heal myself. It's about healing myself and fixing it. And you're right. It's only me. If I'm the problem, then, so it's true. So I've got to still, I know there's still stuff I've got to do and change and learn from. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. And we're going to be touching on that tomorrow and on Wednesday if you come back and join us.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
for sure. Yeah.
Amanda, what about you? Anything you want to add? Any thoughts?
No, just I always get a lot out of this. And for Tracy, like even, I mean, I've been, um, you know, I guess, um, been a part on my own little journey for quite some time, and I was very much a victim.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you are or anybody is, but this was my journey.
Yeah.
And I found that I had to change a lot about myself and my mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that from in the last year, I think I'm probably the strongest I think I've ever been. I'm actually doing things that have gotten me completely out of my comfort zone, and I've got a lot more learning to do. But I'm really excited because I actually like what's happening. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And that just goes for anybody who's sort of joining it today, because Alex has helped a lot. And I think I've done a lot of the work, so I take credit for that as well.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a case of just keep plodding along and being around like-minded people, and just being around people that are actually going to be helping in some way or another. I don't want to be around people anymore. I don't want them dragging me down, because I'm on a whole nother journey just to make my life good and happy.
That's
all
powerful.
I can say.
That's so inspiring, Amanda. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. I love your enthusiasm. I love the way you're talking. And what I also love is that you're actually walking the talk as well. You're not just talking it, you actually live it. It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Marla, anything that you want to add? And bearing in mind as well, you guys are the first crew to be part of this webinar. I'm going to be running this webinar every month. Okay. And you're always welcome to register and come back. But you guys are the first people to actually be part of this webinar. So any feedback that you have is welcome. Anything that I did well, anything that I can do different, anything, please feel free to give me any feedback. Marla, is there anything that you'd like to add or talk about before we finish up?
One of the points that Amanda made is the people you hang around with. It makes a huge difference. It's either they will drain you or you gain energy. So And that's very, very important. And just having your own goals and just walking on this journey, and everybody else is a companion. Some companions they'll stick with you, and some companions you have to just drop them off, and you just keep walking as long as you know that you are doing the right thing. And that's where the sincerity comes in, is that
Perfect.
you know, and you can just, I often say to people, you do not have to justify anything to the world, but you know what your values are, and you justify it to yourself in your heart.
Beautiful. Perfect. I couldn't agree more with that. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Marla. Thank you
That's all
so
right.
much.
So yeah, and I also wanted to, so I joined this, I wanted to see what the coaches do, and that's why I joined, because as I said, I did counseling years ago. That's about 20 years ago. I have and I'm just working with data these days and children with autism, and sometimes guiding parents, and it's a different ball game from what you are doing. But
It's so powerful though what you do, especially working with children, because
yeah,
children are the next generation. Now,
yeah,
I've noticed as well, with the people that I work with, that there's a lot more ADHD, there's a lot more autism, there's a lot more of these neurodivergent brains coming into the world.
yeah.
And it'd be interesting to actually hear your perspective on that, Marla, because I've heard a couple. One of them is that there is a shift in our biology. There's a shift happening in our consciousness. There's a shift happening in humanity, which society is finding too difficult to keep up with. The shift that's happening with our kids, or that there is something wrong with our kids or something wrong with humanity. What's your opinion on that, Marla?
So the pattern of the so one is basically genetic, biological, you can see, and in any kind of illness we get that. The other pattern, so if I was younger, probably I would do some research in that area, but I'm I just don't want to do anymore. But I'm very open with the parents, and I will tell them that there are certain kids I just feel that they have missed out. And the pattern that I've seen in the last 10 years working, because I used to do therapy with the kids as well, which I've stopped doing now, is the ones who have been in a situation where parents come home, there's always so much rush, rush, rush. And then the parents are sitting, and no blame on the parents, that's all they know. It's what you know is what you do. So we guide the parents to spend a bit of time, and don't expect that your child will learn to talk. And they've been blaming COVID. My child's not talking. There's a language issue because there's COVID. Obviously, the child is not able to socialize with other kids, maybe a factor, but kids don't learn language from other kids only. If you talk to your kids, they will learn language. So
Yeah.
the language delay is not because the it was COVID. It's because and I've had mothers and fathers burst out in tears because they feel guilty that they haven't spent the time. They've been on
Mm,
social media. So the
yeah.
kids and so no one in my room comes and they cannot sit with the phone. They have to put their phone down,
Yeah.
put it away, listen, interact. So interaction. So that these are the types of patterns. So I don't know. There's no conclusion at the moment. People are trying to find reason, but some people have a huge genetic predisposition to certain things, and so they will trace back to their grandfather being like that or somebody.
Yeah.
So, but yet maybe a factor that exacerbates or contributes to these is the lack of I can't say the lack, maybe just the way society is becoming now, social
Yep.
media,
Yep.
too much technology. Kids are born, and then as soon as they begin to smile, we just put the
Put them in
iPad in
front of a
front of them.
screen.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the kind of thing. And we've seen changes in the way parents are interacting with the kids, the more community, like going out in the parks and playing and all of that kind of stuff. So we've seen kids who are diagnosed at the age of probably 3.5 with a lot of problems, with a lot of therapy, improve, and some of them don't improve, and that's when you know it's more of a genetic.
Yeah.
Some improvements, but not as significant.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, that's really
But that's just what
fascinating. So
I've
it sounds
observed.
it
There's
sounds
no,
like it
yeah,
sounds like what you're saying is it could be it's a mixture of genetic predisposition, but also a mixture of environment as well and the way that they're
Exactly.
growing up. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
figured.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm seeing as well. Thank you for sharing that, Marla. Guys,
pleasure.
it is 8:30, so we're gonna end this webinar here. I'll be back here at 7 p.m. tomorrow for the second part of this three part webinar series. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about the ultimate lifestyle. So today we covered the daily grind, what holds people back and keeps them stuck in the daily grind of life or the rut of life. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the ultimate lifestyle. What does that look like? So make sure you come back, and we'll touch base then. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.
Thank you. See you
Thanks.
guys.
See you guys.
Tomorrow. You'll see my face. Okay.